and answers. Welcome to Car Shopping Questions and Answers. We're about to go very deep to make sure that you get the answers you need when it comes to buying or leasing your next vehicle. And we want you to have below market strategies. You can't pay market value and you can't pay above market value. The goal when you are purchasing or leasing a car is to get a below market deal. That's the only deal. If you pay market value, you're paying what everyone else paid. It's not a deal. If you pay above market value, you're paying higher than what most people pay. It's definitely not a deal. The only deal is below market value. I see you, Rachel. We're gonna start off with you. I see your question coming in on TikTok. So Dolan, we get ready to pull these questions in. As you guys start typing your questions, we're gonna have Dolan pull them into the show so you can start typing. And I want you to know that everything you're gonna learn over this next hour is out of my new digital book. It's called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. I wrote this book. I put 14 years of industry experience in the car business, working with dealers, working inside Mercedes-Benz, inside General Motors, and I created a 7-step process for you to get below market leases, below market finance deals, below market loans, below market cash purchases, below market used cars, and I have high mileage strategies in there for those of you who drive over 15 or 18,000 miles a year. It's all in there step by step, and you can get your copy for 75% off as part of our book launch offer. You can click the link that's floating on Facebook. You can click the link below on YouTube. We have a comment pin for you, and inside my TikTok and Instagram bios, you guys have a 75% off link for 30 minutes. Once that timer goes to 0, the price does go back up to $97. It's still worth it at $97, but I'd rather you save the 75% off the total price so you have even more value. So get your copy immediately. Don't let it go down to 0 before you get your copy. All right, let's get started, Dolan, with the first question. Start typing your questions, guys. We're going to get through as many as we can in 1 hour. And as you come in, can you hit the like button? It does matter. It does activate the algorithm. It does let these platforms know that we need more people over here so we can help them protect their money. Okay, this question came from Rachel. What's the best time to get a car? I drive a 2014 and I owe $18,000. What is the best advice you can give on trading a newer vehicle? It's under 100,000 miles. Okay, Rachel. So one of the things that the first sense I get is I don't like you still owing that much money on a car that's 10 years old already. I have a rule that I teach. It's called the rule of 72 and the 10th birthday. That means that you never want to take a loan longer than 72 months, but you also don't want a loan on a vehicle past its 10th birthday. And I'm going to tell you why. In 14 years in the car business, I've seen tons of people have things go wrong about the 10-year mark. Now, there's nothing wrong with things going wrong because that's why you have a car, so that you can put a little money into it, maintain it, and keep it driving for as long as possible. The problem is when you have a loan on that car, now what you're doing is you're repairing the car while you're making, hold on. I had to turn the Bluetooth off. Okay, so the problem is you're repairing that car while you're making payments on it. I call these the 4 expenses. The 4 expenses for a car are what you pay for it every month, if you have a loan, what you pay for gas, what you pay to repair it, and then what you pay to maintain it. Maintaining is oil changes, brake fluid changes, tire rotations, new tires. These are, replacing brakes. These are maintaining it. Repairing it is if something breaks on the car. And it's that I call that the 4th expense. That's what most people are not ready for. And what I see is if you have a loan past the 10th year, you're getting hit with you're getting hit with all 4 expenses. And if you've ever seen someone who has a luxury vehicle and they hate it, they usually are buying cars that are too old and taking loans that are too long on them. Because you'll see they hate the vehicle because BMW, you got your BMW, you go drop it off, they tell you, hey, you need brakes, that's maintenance. Then, hey, your navigation system or your electric system is messing up, that's $2,000. And then, you know, you still had to put premium gas in the car. So you could leave out of there and cost $5,000 in 1 month. And people be like, man, I hate this car. But the car is not the problem. The problem is you took a loan on a car that was too old, and you took a loan that was too long. That's why I created the rule of 72 on the 10th birthday. No loans longer than 72 months. And then your car needs to be paid off by the 10th birthday. Now, what happens if you look at the car you want and you can't afford that payment for 6 years? That means you can't afford that car. That doesn't mean stretch the loan out to 7 years or 8 years so that you can try to afford it. Right now, we could all go and we can look at a $700,000 house. Maybe most of us can't afford the mortgage on that, but if we stretch the mortgage out to 50 years, then maybe we can afford the mortgage on it. Doesn't mean it's a good financial decision. So if you're going to finance again, Rachel, I want you to keep that in mind. When you replace your current car, if you're going into another finance, which I don't recommend if you're not keeping this next car 8 years, because you're going to be in the same position again. You should be going into a below market lease. Then if you're keeping the car long term, then go to another finance and then make sure you're not buying too much car, taking out too many loans on it, and taking out too long of a loan. Use that as an affordability index. If I can't afford this car on a 6-year payment and I can't add up, here's how you do it. You look at the car, ask yourself, how old is it? If it's 6 years old, that means I got to take a 4-year loan. If it's 5 years old, that means I got to take a 5-year loan. It can't be greater than 10. You are taking way too much risk. And you're going to end up in this position where you're looking and you're like, how do I still have a car payment? Things starting to go wrong on this car. I'm nowhere close to paying it off. What did I do wrong? That's what you did wrong. Now, if you want to avoid this altogether and say, all right, what can I do in a different structure? You would be going into a lease. If you're shopping a below market lease, what that's going to do is make sure you can pay a low payment on a brand new car. It's always going to be under warranty, and you just keep doing that. You look like somebody who you're just used to having a car payment anyway. So you want to switch the way you make those car payments and start paying it into new cars versus these 10-year-old cars or 8-year-old cars that you're paying these payments into, and you're not getting much back in terms of return or quality or anything like that. So that's the first thing that I will concern myself with is, Rachel, how many years are you going to keep the next car? If it's 8 or more, then you purchase again. If it's less than 8, then Deshone, talk to me about a lease, because I'm not keeping this car at 8 years. I don't keep any car 8 years. All right? It's a great question. That's where we need to start out. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. Okay, this one is Love and... Okay, I don't want to even try to pronounce it, but you can see who you are. If I'm upside down, how can I trade or sell without having to pay the difference or getting a higher note? So now you're asking a question that... All right, so this person said if I'm upside down, that means they owe more on the car than it's worth. How can they get out of that car and go into another car without paying the difference or having a higher note? So I'm going to give you the way it's possible, depending on your situation, and realizing that in my book, there is one person, there's two people actually, but really one main person who, it doesn't matter how good your credit is, you're not going home with a new car, because negative equity is, you have too much negative equity. So there are cases where doesn't matter. You come in with an 800 score. I call negative equity the bad credit for people with good credit, because it's the only time when I was in the dealership, people would walk in and they would say, you know, okay, we look at a car and then we look at their current situation and the maximum amount they can pay. And then we look and say, hey, look, the bank's not going to approve this. You can't roll over 10 grand of negative equity to that $30,000 car and do no money down. So there are circumstances where you've dug yourself too deep, and the only thing that's going to do it if you don't have money is time and paying down the vehicle. So let's talk about if you're not in that situation. First thing I'm doing is I'm going to CarMax. I'm going to driveway.com. These are websites. This is because you notice what she said. If I trade or sell, that's very important, because some of you, you've been on the stream, you know we don't sell. I mean, we don't trade. We always sell our cars to cash buyers. You know, that come, they write big checks, they pay more than dealers. So the first thing we're going to do is visit these cash buying websites: CarMax, Driveway, Carvana. KBB Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, and Car Gurus. That's going to give you 6 independent offers. Now, once you get those 6 offers, that's going to tell you how much negative equity you have based on your payoff. You need to call your bank and ask them, how much is my payoff? That's the amount you owe. Don't look at your statement. Call your bank, make the phone call, and find out your payoff. Now, you look at what your payoff is, and you look at what your highest offer is. If your highest offer is the same as the payoff, you're break even. If your highest offer is 20, but your payoff is 15, that means you got 5,000 of equity. If your highest offer is 10 and your payoff is 15, you got 5,000 negative equity. So now the best thing to do is what I call pay the difference. Because when you pay the difference, now you can go into your next transaction and you can do a clean transaction. Clean transaction. So whatever deal you get on your next car, it's clean. You're not bringing any baggage over. You can shop multiple offers. There's no limits. But if you can't pay the difference, now you have to do what we don't like doing, which is trade. And there's going to be a ton of people with negative equity because a lot of people bought cars that were overpriced from 2020 to 2022. You know, we were trying to warn people to lease, to ride out the market, buy inexpensive pre-owned cars to ride out the market, or, you know, keep their current car and not shop if they didn't have to ride out the market. Some people didn't take that advice and they went and they overpaid because they had no shopping strategy. And now they're going to be 15 grand negative equity trying to get another car. So if you can't transfer, you know, there's limits to what you can transfer. If you can do what we teach and you actually can shop the market the way we teach, you might get a deal like this. Let me show, this is Milligan's deal. She just made this deal a couple days ago. It was for a Mercedes-Benz brand new EQS. It's an EQE. It was a $79,000 vehicle using our shop from home strategy. She never left the house to get this discount. She went from $79,000 to $51,000 on a brand new vehicle. And if you're on Instagram or if you're on YouTube, you guys can see this. So we can't share the entire versions on Facebook and on TikTok, but if you like, you know, anybody who wants to see, okay, I want to see these things that Deshone, you can go right to our YouTube page, Deshone the Auto Advisor, and you go right to Instagram and you'll see the actual documents. This is her deal. She's posted up $79,000, $51,000. Why is this so important? Because when the bank goes to lend on this vehicle she bought, they're lending based on the fact the MSRP is 79. So the banks will usually lend up to 20% more of the MSRP if you have good credit. So 79, the max they'll lend is another 20% of that. So let's say, you know, $96,000 is the max they're going to lend on a $79,000 car. So let's just say you have 15,000 negative equity. Now you don't know how to shop. You don't get the same discounts we're getting. You don't have that same thing. You can't slap all of that negative equity on and your taxes and your fees because you're going to blow out the loan to value ratios. The bank's not going to approve it. But when you find a car that has specific rebate, and we don't know this, she didn't know she was going to save $25,000 off this vehicle. What is that? Almost $30,000 off this vehicle. She didn't know that. She just said, I like this vehicle. Deshone, I'm going to use these shopping strategies, same strategies you'll have in my book. It'll literally be in your inbox in minutes. Same strategies we've used to help people do this all around the country. Now, all right, I saved almost 30 grand. Now I can bring my negative equity of 15 grand over to this vehicle, bury it, and I'm okay. So it's very important. The more negative equity you have, you are targeting a vehicle, or you're trying to find a vehicle where you can get such a big discount, you can transfer that over, go from a non-quality vehicle usually to a quality vehicle, because you're already in a vehicle that's not worth what you owe. That's important to understand. You're already in a vehicle that's not worth what you owe. The key is to getting that into a vehicle you're going to enjoy, and at least a vehicle that is safe and quality, and preferably you're leasing. Because the great thing about transferring negative equity to a lease is once that lease is up in 3 years or 39 months, the negative equity is gone. When you transfer that over to a finance, another 5 or 6 year finance, you're bringing the negative equity over, stretching it out for 5 or 6 years and putting interest on top of it. That's why I don't ever recommend go from a finance negative equity deal to another finance negative equity deal, because you're usually a short-term person anyway. You should be leasing cars. So this is the strategies for getting out of negative equity. Now you can literally go into a dealer. See, watch this. That's a below market strategy for negative equity. What I just talked to you about is what the people who are actually financially wise do and think about. Now you could say, well, I'm just going to go into the dealer and say, hey, I want to get out of this car. Perfect. They'll transfer you out of that. They'll go in and say, all right, we got it. You know, here's your payment. We put you on a 4-year lease, or here's your payment. We got you in a 6-year, 7-year finance. But you'll never know the discount you're getting because you don't care. Your whole thing is, I don't really want to unlearn what I've been taught and programmed to do. But if you want to say, I want to make the best deal possible and I want to stop making these mistakes that's getting me into these bad deals, I've never had to come and deal with 5, 6 grand, 2 grand of negative equity. It's never happened to me. But there are people, you might be one of them, who every deal you make, it's a negative equity situation. It's a negative equity situation. That's because you haven't learned how to structure your deals correctly. And those are the things that I want you to unlearn so that you can have empowered car buying, be making deals you feel great about, posting your numbers just like Milligan did, and saying, hey, check out the deal I made. Not just check out the car I got, check out the deal that I made. Okay? So that's what you need to understand. And if you can't, and that's how you can transfer out of negative equity, whether you have 10 grand negative equity, 5, 15, those are your options. And that's how we work it. All of this, guys, is in my new digital book. If you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, could you hit the like button? Hit the like button if you're just enjoying what you're hearing so far. I see y'all are running the likes up on TikTok. I appreciate it. As y'all keep tapping the screen, every time you're like, man, you know what? This is good information. Just hit the like button, start tapping the screen. It means a lot. And again, it shows these social media platforms that they need to get more people over here. Okay? So go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next question up. Keep typing your questions, y'all. We are going to try to get through as many as we can. I see you, Patrice Darden. I see you, Mr. Living Right. I see you, Letitia Cook. Good to see everybody tapping in. What's up, Max Mix? I see you, Kiki. We're live on 2 TikTok channels, too. We're on 2 TikTok channels today. All right, Nairobi asks, what's the fastest way to sell a lease? I'm over by 18,000 in miles and have 19 payments left. Okay, here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you, this is, now, who has a lease right now that they're pacing to go over their mileage? They're pacing to go over their mileage. Who has a lease right now? You haven't gone over yet, but you're pacing because you're not over until the end of the lease. If you tell the leasing company you're going to drive 12,000 miles per year, then they want the car back with 36,000 miles on it. If you sign for 15,000 miles per year, then they want the car back with 45,000 miles in 3 years. You do a 20,000 mile a year lease. Some of you might have not known you can do high mileage leases. We talk about that all the time. It's only a couple dollars more when you get below market deals. If you're not keeping cars 8 years, the high mileage leases are some of the best things you could be doing. It's literally pennies on the dot, cents on the dollar compared to purchasing, and we never have negative equity, and we drive as much as we want in these new cars. If you're pacing, once you bring the car back, you could do 10,000 miles your first year, 20,000 miles your second year, 8,000 miles your third year, as long as the total at the end doesn't exceed what you told them you were going to spend, then you would be fine. So you're not over your miles, you're pacing to go over your miles. So here's what I'm going to give you, Nairobi, because this is a very, very complex thing when you don't have calculators. When you don't have tools, it's complex unless you're really good at math. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this comment on YouTube and Facebook. Now in my book, I have calculators that I've invented. This is actual software that people who use my books and who have worked with me since 2021 have gotten to use. These are things that I looked around the industry and I saw things that people needed to know that didn't exist. So we had to actually build them out ourselves. And so that's why when you get my digital book, you have access to like 5 different custom calculators that we made that no one else uses. So one of them is this lease penalty calculator. Now, if you're pacing to go over your miles, here's what you got to understand. If you call a dealership, one of the biggest lies that they're going to tell you is come on in, I'll take care of the mileage, or I'll take care of the penalties, or we'll get you out of the lease. Who's heard that before? Type me if you've heard that. Type me if you've ever spoken to a dealer, if you said, hey, I'm going over my miles, or hey, I'm thinking about I want to get out early, and they said to you, no problem, come on in, we'll get you out of that. Don't worry about your old payments. Who's heard that? Who's heard that? Okay, type me. I told y'all you got to stay by your keyboards when you're on these live streams. This is not you're not watching somebody play video games where you could just be like, all right, yeah, let me just watch this person. Nah, this is active learning. This is stay by your keyboard because we dialogue with each other. All right, Latesha, I see you. Carol, yes, I see you. Harold Driver, yes, I see you. All right, so here's what happens. Those payments and that penalty that you drove over your miles, they don't get taken care of. They get rolled into your next deal. The only way lease payments disappear is if they have something called a payment waiver. And that's for loyalty in some cases. They don't say, hey, you got a Honda, you're buying a Toyota, we'll waive those old payments. They'll say, we'll take care of them. But what that means and what you need to know and what we know is that means I'm rolling them into your next car. So you're paying for that car in this new car. We don't like to make deals like that because it's baggage. It's baggage. So what we want to do is we want to find out if we're pacing to go over our mileage, does it make more sense for me to get, thank you, Tim. That's actually a good statement. Ain't nothing free. That's a good statement that a lot of people don't understand. When they say, hey, I'm throwing in these floor mats for you. Hey, I'm throwing in key protection. That means there's so much money in the deal that we have to actually, it's something called padding the deal. The finance manager and the team, they're trying to just pack. We got so much profit in this deal. We need to figure out how to allocate some of this so it's justified. So when you hear them say that, oh, he threw in all this, he threw in all of this for me, that means you got a horrible deal. Sorry to tell you, but I got to give you the bad news first so that you understand. All right, it's smoke and mirrors, but I'm not gonna make these mistakes again. You have a whole billion-dollar industry that is really hell-bent on keeping you shopping the same way you've been shopping, because it keeps them on the Fortune 500 list. It keeps them publicly trading at a good profit. But our people and the people who listen to us, those of you who locked in, you're gonna be the ones that everybody else buying up here, but we buying down here. So let's get back to this point. So you want to see if I'm pacing to go over my mileage, does it make more sense for me to replace the car now? In which case, my payments would be due. If I stop my lease 3 months early, and in Nairobi's case, she has 19 payments left. If she was to go and stop her lease now, those 19 payments get billed out immediately. So if she walks into a dealer and says, hey, get me out of this car, they're going to try to either see, can they buy it, or do we make the payments and roll them over? What happens most of the time, and it's usually a better situation, guys, is you would use that lease penalty calculator, you put in how many miles you're driving per month, and it's going to tell you if you go all the way to the end, this is how much your mileage penalty would be. I had somebody who I work with use that calculator. He found out the mileage penalty would be a little over $2,000. But if he got out now, his payment and mileage penalty would be $5,000. See, first thing we want to do when we find out we're going over mileage is, let me try to get out of this car. Oh, you don't realize that that's a bigger penalty you're paying, breaking the lease early, versus go to mileage, and then you find yourself a below market deal. You get yourself a deal like this. Get yourself a deal like this. Because I told you, I'm going to be showing a lot more people. We had so many people get cars over the last couple of days. We're gonna be showing these people. Look, this is Melissa. Melissa got a 2025 Honda Pilot EXL, She got a 15,000 mile a year lease. And oh man, I didn't even when I screenshot her, hold on. When I screenshot her deal, I didn't open it up with all the details that she shared. So hold on. Stay with me because y'all got to see this. She got a 1.27 lease. And if she would have let's say she was in a situation where she had a $2,000 mileage penalty, it would be simple for her to just literally roll that mileage penalty over here on top of her 1.2% lease. So this was her full deal right here. It says 15,000 miles per year, $597 a month. And look, she sold her old car because she was used to financing. This is the perfect example of someone who was taught never lease, never lease. She paid all this money to finance these cars. She had a 2018 Kia Sorento, and she would normally go in, trade that car in, and then use whatever equity she had, 5,000, 7,000, 8,000 as a down payment towards her next finance. And she just kept doing it over and over and over again, paying high payments, losing her equity. So she discovers me. She finds out she's not keeping cars 8 years. She's like, all right, if I'm not keeping cars 8 years, I'm not breaking Deshone's 8-year rule. I'm going to shop for a lease. So now she shops for her lease. She gets the same car she would have gotten and paid tons of money for, $800-900 a month for, because she was financing it. But now she actually she financed. She gets her new lease, $597 a month. And look, she did her offers, the 6 offers I told y'all to do, 10 minutes ago. $12,000 in equity. So she goes in, she gets the new car, no money down, $597, drives off in a brand new $50,000 vehicle. Then she gets a check and she puts it in her bank for $12,000. It's the way the money moves. If you understand what I'm saying, if you're starting to, even if you don't get it all, if you're starting to understand type of dollar sign, it's the way the money moves. This is already a woman who likes driving newer cars. It's obvious. She has a 2018. She's going to upgrade it. So she would normally just go trade it in, finance another car, keep it another 5-6 years, trade it in, finance another car. It costs big money to finance these cars. It costs huge money. So now what she did is she said, okay, I drive 15,000 miles a year. I'm just going to get a 15,000 mile a year lease. If she would have got a 12,000, payment would have been $25 less. If she needed 18,000 like Jen, look at Jen's deal. Jen needed 18,000. Where's Jen? Here she is. Look, she says $512 a month. She got a CRV hybrid, and some of these vehicles are very in demand. So when you see vehicles that are closer to the 1% leases, these are vehicles that have bigger rebates, more support behind them. And sometimes you see vehicles that are 1.2, 1.3. They have a little less support from the manufacturer, but you still need to shop to get great lease deals because most people are paying, either huge down payments or then, they're paying over 1.5%. Again, let's stay on topic though. If you look at Jen, she said my payment was $512. I bumped it up because I wanted 18,000 miles a year to $563. Look, she shopped the payment. She shopped her deal from home the way we teach. She got 25 dealers to get involved online, never talked to them, got bids, used my email scripts, and she said, okay, my best deal for 12,000 miles is $512 a month. All right, now bump me up to 18,000. So she's getting, a lot of people would have just signed the 12,000 and then been talking about penalties that they're paying because they didn't get what they need. We teach something called choosing your mileage wisely. She paid $40-50 a month and she can drive her 18,000 miles a year, take her trips, do her crossroads, go see her kids in college and not have to worry about anything for $40-something more a month. It's the pennies. That's called being penny wise. Some people will be penny, that's called being dollar wise. Some people will be penny wise. It's called penny wise, dollar foolish. You have to get the mileage you need on a lease. And if you choose your mileage wrong, don't blame the lease. The lease is not a real person. The lease only goes what you put in. If you tell them, work me a lease payment with no money down, that's how they're going to customize it. If you say put the taxes and fees in the payment and give me offers, that's how they're going to customize it. You might have to tell them 2 or 3 times because they're so used to just telling people, hey, we need $5,000 down. So you might have to tell them that, but the lease is based on you. If you say, hey, I need 25,000 miles a year to drive, that's what they're going to quote you. That's what they're going to customize. So we always shop with 12, and then we adjust our mileage later. But that's what you need to see, Nairobi. So you're going to see, use that calculator I put the link for. It'll tell you whether it makes sense to get out now, later, or at the end. But the last thing I want you to compare that to is the equity assessment. I want you to go to CarMax, go to Driveway, go to Carvana, go to KBB Instant Cash Offer, go to Driveway, go to AutoNation, go to Car Gurus, get those 6 cash offers, because you may be able to sell your car. And in which case, if you sell your car, all is forgiven. If you sell your car, there's no penalties, there's no nothing, because you're actually transferring the title and the buyer is paying the company off. So do that equity assessment. But when you go to those websites, you must put in, when they ask you, is it a finance, lease, or own, put own. Don't put lease, because it triggers something in their websites. Now, if y'all are like, you're like Deshone, I'm not gonna remember all of this. Get the blueprint. That everything I'm teaching you is out of my new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. It's already 5-star rated. Shout out to the people on Goodreads who have reviewed it. We're at a 4.9 rating. We got 4.9 overall, 58 ratings, 40 written reviews. Shout out to everybody who's came and told their story about this book since we launched it a few months ago. And you can go and see what the public is saying about it. This ship has sailed. You can get your copy for 75% off for the next 30 minutes. If you visited the website in my TikTok bio and my Instagram bio, once that gets to 0, there's a countdown, 30 minutes. Once it gets to 0, the price of the book goes back up to $97. It's still worth every dime, but I'd rather you pay $24 instead of $97. So on Instagram, TikTok, your 75% off is in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio. Get it before the countdown expires and you'll have the blueprint. On Facebook and YouTube, we have a link in the comments for you pinned for you to get your copy for 75% off for 30 minutes only. Again, if you're like Deshone, this is good, but there's no way I'm gonna remember all of this. You can watch the replays, get it however you want it. Our system is step-by-step, and it doesn't involve talking. Everything we do is online tools. Okay, go ahead, Dolan. Let me take a sip of water. Next question. And you can buy more miles on the lease. That's a good point. A lot of people don't know that though, Tim. They really don't. They might have signed a bad lease or heard somebody sign a bad lease, and then usually what signing a bad lease is overpaying for it or not getting the mileage you need, or both. I've had people who know they're not going to drive 10,000 miles a year, but because it's $40 a month less, or because they don't know, just pay $40 more and get what you need. They'll just take the 10,000. It's a horrible decision, and it leads to a terrible lease experience. All right, this is Teneros. How much should I put down as a down payment? It's a great question. So what you want to do is understand that down payment is nothing but payment management. It is not deal management. You don't want to fool yourself into thinking that because you got a good payment, you got a good deal. That's what down payments typically can do to a person who's not really good with math. You'll say, all right, I need to get my payment to 400. Now you're looking at a car you like, and you're like, I need to get my payment to 400. Now they tell you, okay, well, you end up putting $10,000 down and your payment's 400, and you think, okay, I got a deal. I'm at my payment. You didn't. You are doing one of the cardinal sins that we don't do here at Cars from Home. You're mixing transactions together. What does that mean? Almost everybody who's financially savvy when it comes to cars is going to separate their loan from the purchase price of the car. These two things are unrelated. You shop for the price of the car separate from the monthly payments. Because when you separate, you realize one thing. When most people are giving car dealers 3 transactions and not realizing it. They're buying a car from them. That's one transaction. They're giving their loan to them, or they're letting the dealer get them a loan. That's another transaction. And then they're trading in their car to them. That's a third transaction. So a person looks at it as one. I just made a deal with a dealership. No, you just actually did 3 transactions in one. And what happens, the reason why that's so bad is because you can't bid any of them out. In order to make sure you got a great deal, you need a great deal on each of those 3. The car you need to replace, you need to get the most money for that. The most money comes from bidding it out on the market with the strategies I just said 5 minutes ago with the companies that I just named, the equity assessment process. That's bidding that out. Now, we bid out our loans. Who's going to give us our loan? Who's going to give us the best interest rate? There's plenty of banks that want to compete for our interest rate. Plenty of banks that they don't even sell cars. That should be a clue to you guys of how much money is really in cars, because there's companies who don't sell cars. All they want to do is loan you money to buy a car. That means there's a lot of money in the loan business. So we bid that out. And there's a way we use a strategy. When you get my digital book, you get something called the Bank Bidding War Blueprint. This is how we make banks and credit unions bid for our credit, bid for our loan. We have 20, 30 people bid without affecting our credit negatively. There's a specific way that credit bureaus allow you to do this. It's called rate shopping, where it's within a certain window. But if you're getting pre-approvals with hard credit pulls and then you're going out shopping, you're not going to be able to do this, because you're going to get a hard credit pull here. Then a month later, you go find your car. That pre-approval expires. Now you got to do another hard credit pull. You already hit your credit twice, and you're outside of the rate window. It's just what most people are doing. And that's why when you get a pre-approval, most people become scared to shop now, because they don't want to let anyone else run their credit. So you're limiting yourself. But the bank bidding war shows you how to have unlimited people bid for your interest, and we do that after we find our car. But the third transaction is when we're going to buy a car now. The car we're buying, we're going to shop the used car market, look at all the marketplaces. I have a strategy I call the multiple marketplace strategy, where we're looking at all these websites like Amazon. I mean, we're shopping like we're shopping for a TV on Amazon, Walmart, BestBuy.com, but except we're on these car websites. Now we're narrowing it down, narrowing all the inventory down to the top 5 choices, and we're narrowing it down based on title, service records, accident history. We're verifying there's no bogus fees, and then we come up with our top 3 after we get the new car price of these vehicles. This is all, again, step by step. And some of you, you're like, this should be expected. This is what car shopping should be like. Car shopping is not like buying a TV. It's closer to buying a house. So although we do this in 2 hours, if you follow my strategy, you can get deals in 2 hours. Without these things, you're now winging the process. But first things first, when you determine, when you add to this question was about how much money should I be putting down? When we separate our transactions, now what we've done is we went out and we found the car we want at a below market price. Now we go to our lenders and we start the bidding process, and we say, okay, who's going to give me the best interest rate? And whoever gets me the best interest rate, now I put it together with the car that I have on hold, and I say, okay, what's my car payment now? And they may say, okay, well, if you finance the whole thing, your car payment's, $580. Now you might say, okay, no, I think I want to be at like $499. How much do I need down? Well, about $3,000. Okay, perfect. That's between you and the lender. It's not between you and the dealer. You're not, see, in that case, now you have the best price on the car waiting for you because you got bids on that. You got the best loan because you got bids on it. And now your down payment is actually going off the principal of the car, not it's going to pad the deal and the profit from the dealer. If you got that, type $. If you got that on TikTok, just start double tapping the screen, running the like sign. That is why it's important. We call that the 3 pillars of great car deals. You'll have to see these 3 pillars separately. Who I sell my car to, I'm bidding that out. Who I get my loan from, bidding that out. Who I buy my car from, bidding that out. And that allows you to sit at your computer and make all the money on your car deal and have these deals that, all of these people are making these deals at home. Look, this is India. She said she started using my strategies last year, but she shopped the market at the time. She was shopping for a Toyota Corolla, and she did not like the offers at the time. That's the benefit of starting these strategies way before you need a car. Look, we got people who get cars in 3-4 days, But when you have time, you can shop the market. She didn't like how the offers looked, and she waited. She said, the best of all my offers were over 1.5% with no money, with no one budging on my counter offers. Fast forward 2024, I had to find a car in 2 weeks, so I got to work. In about 5 days, I walked out with a 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited, 36,000 for 36 months, 12K, 365 a month, no money down. Boom, 365 a month, no money down. The MSRP was 28,725, making it a 1.27 deal. People would kill right now to be able to buy a car, drive a brand new, dependable car, fully warranted car, shop from home, never had to be stressed out in a dealership, begging for discounts. She's sitting at home and she drives off at 365 a month, brand new car, no money down. This is what it's about, people. It's about learning the strategies so that you keep the most money in your household. Okay? Everything I'm teaching you, everything India used is in my new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. You can get your copy as part of our launch offer for 75% off in my TikTok bio or in my Instagram bio, but it's only for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, the price goes back up to the $97 price, which is still great. If you missed it, and you're like, Deshone, I missed it, but I need these strategies. Listen, it's $70-something more. And the strategies you're going to use to save we can't even quantify it. We showed you earlier somebody saved 25 grand off their price, almost 30 grand off her Mercedes. You've seen discounts of 6,000-7,000. You've seen ridiculous pay. It doesn't matter. The value you're going to get far outweighs the cost. And here's one thing: financially wise people look at value. Financially foolish people look at cost. Let that sink in. Okay, those of you on YouTube and Facebook, I have a comment below for you. We have a comment pinned. You can hit the link below. You'll see the 75% off. Now, make sure when you get your book at the 75% off, if you get there before the 30 minutes is up, make sure as soon as you purchase, it says screenshot thank you page. You'll see I put on that page, your book is below. You can click it to open it immediately, save it to your phone, save it to your computer, and I also email you a copy. But I want you to screenshot that page so you can have my support team's email. Every now and then we get people that typing so fast, you actually type your email in wrong. And then you didn't save the book right there on the thank you page. So now, how am I getting my book? You got the support team email. They're 7 days a week. Email, hey, I think I might have typed something wrong. I don't see my book. It's not in my spam folder. Get my team so we can get you the book immediately. So you can have these strategies, protect your family's money, shop with confidence, enjoy car shopping. I enjoy shopping. These people are like, enjoy. Look at what Adina said. Look at what Adina said at the end. She said, thanks, Deshone. Hold on. Thanks, Deshone, for making the car buying process easy. And I want to upload this because it got cut off too. So I'm going to upload this. Thank you for making the car buying process easy. I want you enjoying car shopping. You're about to spend a ton of money. Why should you dread? Look what she said. Last sentence. If you're on Instagram or if you're on YouTube, you can see it. So, all right, Dolan, next question. Let's fly through a couple more. We still got some more time. Come on, y'all, keep typing. Lalia, yes, we send emails out all the time. In fact, everyone who had the book, I literally sent a new copy out to everybody on our list. It was like 9,000 people, maybe a month ago. So, like, go through your email, check your emails from me, because we do that every now and then. Like, we'll literally just update the book and blast the new copy out to everybody who bought one. So check your email, check your spam. You know, I've sent you that book. If you purchased it last year, you've gotten the new book probably at least 2 times, 3 times. We've updated it and sent it out to everybody. Okay, Kevy Kev, good to see you. What are the basic pros and cons of leasing? I know nothing about it, but my husband's considering it. Good question. Let's talk about the cons of leasing first, because I speak a lot about the benefits. The cons of leasing are you always have a payment. Now, some people who buy cars and they always trade them in as soon as they pay them off, or they trade them in before they're paid off. They replace them before they paid off. Like, we had the young lady earlier on the stream. She said, I still owe 18,000. I'm about to go and buy another vehicle. So she's always used to a payment anyway. So that's a con. You're always going to have a payment. Another con is you can't beat the car up and not realize the losses. Now, let me be clear on this. People think when they own a car, they can do anything they want to it and not realize the losses. But I want to be clear. If you follow me, let's say a person buys a car, you own it, you put a lift on it, a big exhaust system, one of the big, the joint is loud. You customize that car. Did you raise the value or lower the value of the car? Type it in. Did you raise the value or lower the car? If a person does all of that stuff, customizes the car, did they raise the value or lower it? Thank you, Cam Newton. Lowered it. So let's say a person was going to sell a car and somebody looked at it and said, hey, how much is you going to pay? They're going to pay $20,000 to buy your car. Now you're like, okay, perfect. Now you go and you do all of this stuff to it, put the engine, put the exhaust on it, boom. You come back 2 days later and you're like, hey, yeah, I want to sell you the car for 20. Now they hear that new exhaust, they hear all that stuff you put on. They're like, nah, I can't give you 20 for that. And that thing probably worth 16 now. I don't know what you do to it. So I'm trying to get you to see what I call the unseen expense. This is depreciation. Everything we talk about when we talk about leasing versus buying, we're taking into account how we're going to avoid major depreciation. But people who purchase don't often think that they don't actually understand that whatever they do to that car, if they drive 40,000 miles on it, they just lost money. If my car was worth 20 today and then I drive 30,000 miles this year, that car is going to be worth 10. I'm destroying the value. So you pay for it either way. So when I say that one of the cons of leasing is that you can't do anything you want to the car, well, you can't without paying for it, but you also can't when you own it without paying for it. But if you do that, you have to restore it to its original condition. Now, another con of leasing is you have to be able to estimate around about how much you're going to drive. So people who are like doing Uber or something, you don't know how much you're going to drive. There's a reason I don't tell business people who do those types of businesses to lease, even though they're not keeping their cars a long time. There's a better structure for you guys. Leasing is not it, because you don't know how much you're going to drive. If you have a good year, you might do 40,000 miles. If you have a bad year or a rough year, you might do 20 or 18,000 miles. So you can't predict it. So with leasing, you have to have an enjoyable leasing experience. You have to have some type of an idea when you're going to, how much you're going to drive. Now, one of the biggest cons to leasing is you can overpay by a lot because it's not transparent. It's not transparent. Could everybody who shares, there are a couple people on here, you always share the broadcast. I appreciate you. We need you. Can you hit the share button, hit that arrow, hit that paper plane, and tag one friend in, just in case they might be going to the dealership tomorrow. We need to make sure that they have what they need to win. So shout out to the sharers. We can't do this without you. Now, when you consider that you can overpay, see, when you get a purchase deal, everything goes on that receipt, the buyer's order. You can plug that into a calculator and you can match those numbers up. You might not be used to doing it, but that bottom line price, you can plug that right into a basic auto loan calculator on hundreds of websites, and you can make sure that your payment matches. You can't do that with a lease. There's all types of potential to hide money in leases. You can hide money in the interest rate. You can hide in the money factor, because you can't use your own financing with a lease. You have to use whatever bank or leasing company the dealership who's running the promotion is using. So that gives us potential to be overcharged for our money factor or our interest rate. There could be rebates on that vehicle, $2,000, $5,000 rebates. Look, when Sean was shopping for his F-150, some of you have seen it. It was a $15,000 rebate, $15,500. He wouldn't have known about that if a dealer's not going to come in and tell him, hey, it's $15,500 rebate on this. No, some dealers might say nothing. They won't even mention it. They'll just try to negotiate. Hey, how much could you, they hoping you say something like this. Can you get me the invoice price? Can you get me to the invoice price? If I could get you the invoice price, can we make a deal today? Yeah, I always heard that, invoice price is a fair deal. Okay, no problem. Let me go get it. So they're not going to tell you anything about, hey, we got 15,000. He didn't ask about the rebates. He didn't ask nothing about rebate. He don't know anything about the rebates. Let's go take off $5,000, get him the invoice price. We're going to make $20,000 profit on this deal. So this is how it works. This is how it works. So with a lease, you could have the same types of incentives. And the thing about leasing is when you go from a finance to a lease, your payment is naturally going to be lower. Even if you get a bad deal, your payment's going to be lower. If you're used to buying $50,000 cars and paying $900 or $1,000 a month and putting 10 grand down, that same $50,000 car is going to lease out for like $800 with a bad deal. So people will walk in and think they won. Oh man, it's lower. It's lower than when I used to buy these. But you don't realize that, if this was a vehicle like Zafrina here, and look, this was a $60,000 vehicle, $65,000 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now that vehicle, she's paying $579 a month for, no money down. So you walk in and you get a vehicle like this, and you think, oh, they got me the lease at $800. It's a $65,000 vehicle. I had to win. No, you lost big time because there were so many rebates and incentives that you didn't understand were there, and there's no way you're going to get them to reveal them to you. The only way, and I've been in the car business since 2006. I left in 2020, and since then I've been helping people make deals around this country. The only way to reveal what all the rebates are is 2 words: multiple offers. It's the only way. You're never going to negotiate your way to finding out what all the rebates are, because one deal is going to tell you it's $3,000, another deal is going to tell you it's $5,000, another deal is going to tell you it's $8,000, another deal is going to tell you there's no rebates. That's why when we sit back and we get multiple offers from home using the strategies in my digital book that you'll have access to immediately. Those of you who got your book, I see a lot of you saying, got the book. All of this stuff is scripted out for you. Now, you could do it manually, too. You want to call around the dealerships, ask for the sales manager, ask for a manager, try to bypass salesmen, because salesmen are trained to distract and waste time and make it hard, especially by phone. So if you want to try to do it manually, we must get 5 offers. New cars, leases, you must get 5 offers from 5 different dealers, because that's how different the offers are going to be. They're going to be major different, not close. Major. I always say if your offers aren't $150 to $200 a month apart, then you didn't shop correctly. Okay, go ahead, Doe. Let's shoot the next question up. That's it, Kevin. That's the pros and cons. Oh, let me hit on the pros. Hold on. Let me try to sum up the pros of leasing before we wrap this question up. Pros of leasing are when you get below market leases, you're driving new cars. Warranty cars, always under warranty in most cases. Something breaks, you call a dealership. Hey, this broke. Come on in, we'll fix it. You're under warranty. When you get below market leases, you're driving new cars for cents on the dollar. You're driving new cars and you're paying less than what people are paying to buy, lots less of what people are paying to buy them new, and you're paying less than what people are paying to buy them pre-owned. Some of you've seen me do that scenario where I compare a new lease, below market lease, to a pre-owned version of that same car. Take that $65,000 vehicle that Zafrina got, $597 a month. If she found one for $30,000, half price. Let's just pretend, and this is to illustrate to you how drastic the difference between below market leases are and buying. It's not even close. It's nowhere near close. If she found a half price version of that vehicle, which won't exist, let's just say we made one up and just put it right here, half price. So that's $32,000 plus tax. She's around $35,000. Some of you know every $5,000 on a car payment is about how much per month. I mean, when you look at a car, every $5,000 on a loan is about how much per month. I told y'all, stay by the keyboard. We got to be quick here. This is active learning. You don't want to be distracted. You want to be locked in, active learning. Every $5,000 on a loan is about how much per month? Shout out to y'all running the likes up on TikTok too. Every time you double tap the screen, y'all just, yes, thank you, Cam New. See, I love the people that are locked in. I see you, Brenda, $100 a month. Yeah. Now, so we got $100 for every 5,000. So that means when you look at a $10,000 car, first thing in your mind should be that's $200 a month, 5-year loan. When you look at a $20,000 car, first thing in your mind, that's $400 a month, 5-year loan. When you look at a used car version, let's say she gets it for half off, $32,000 plus tax, she's around $35,000. What's that payment? $700 a month, 5-year loan. So when I tell you that when we're driving below market leases, we're paying less than what people are paying for pre-owned versions. I just took really on a $65,000 car, a decent pre-owned version will probably be 30% off, maybe 40% off. Then you're going higher. If you don't know how to get good deals, you're going to take one with high mileage. It's going to be old. So it's more realistic to find a $65,000 car, 3 or 4 years old for, let's say 35, let's say 40, really closer to 40 if it's 65 new. So now you're talking about $800 a month. So a person like Zafrina, she's driving, she knows how to get below market leases. She's driving a brand new $65,000 fully warranty version, not tying up her money in that vehicle. She's paying $597 a month, which is hundreds a month less than what a used car person is paying, and like $500-600 it's less than what a new car person is paying. So it's no comparison. So when I tell you the only people who should be purchasing, you're like, Deshone, why do people purchase then? If getting great lease deals is so cheap, why do people purchase? Well, one, everyone doesn't know how to get below market leases. So they'll look at commercials and they'll think, oh, well, this says I got to give them $5,000 down plus tax and all that. That's not deals. That's above market value or market value. We don't pay those prices. And second is, people who buy long-term don't care about those short-term benefits. I want to ask a question. Who on here has a vehicle in their driveway right now that you've had for at least 8 years? I want you to type how many years you've had it. Let me know how many. I see you, Sharon. Congratulations. Use it and win it. Let everyone who has a car outside in your driveway that you've had more than 8 years, I want you to type how many years old it is. 8, 10, 15. Okay, Harold, he has one for 9 years outside. Sugar Lump, 19 years. Mr. Living Right, 8 years. Perfect. Dwayne Perkins, I see you, 22 years. Look, Julia Murray, 16 years. Look, Brenda, 8 years. Now watch this. Ralph, I see you, 10 years. 8 years or more is when we buy. These people won. So you heard me just spend the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes talking about pros and cons of leasing, benefits of leasing. But these people are the real financial winners in the long run, because the longer you keep a car, the less it costs you. I'm not a fan of people leasing who have the discipline to keep a car for 10, 15 years, 12 years. I would never tell people lease who's doing that. I'm trying to get the people who say, it's no way I'm keeping a car near that long. I've never done it. I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to do it. You are the people who should not be buying. Because the great thing about having a car 8 years is you'll see something. This is the depreciation cycle. This is how owners lose money on their leases, on their cars. When you purchase your car, one day when you buy it, it's worth this. 5 years down the line, it's worth this. 10 years down, 10 years, but here's the thing. After about 8 years, 7, 8 years, now the depreciation starts to level out. You're not losing that much money in depreciation anymore. Your car today, all of you who just typed, whatever your car is worth today, most likely it's going to be worth that next year too. If your car is worth $5,000 today, a year from now, it's going to be worth about $5,000. You've beat depreciation. That's when it makes sense to purchase, when you have those values. These people, look, we call these cars keepers. When the transmission goes out on the car, you know what people who are not programmed, you're not a keeper, you know what you do? Transmission's out. You gotta go get a new car. When the transmission goes out for some of these guys, what are they doing? They go get another transmission, put it in the car. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do. So there's two sides to be on. You're a long-term side. That means, like my dad, he bought a truck 2013. 6 years later, the engine went out. He got a used motor, put it in there. He's still driving it. He's about to sell it for a couple $1,000s now. He's had that car for over 10 years. But he's had no car payment on it for like probably 7 years. That's all money that stays in his household. Somebody asked the other day, hey, my car needs $3,500 in work. Should I go get a new car? I said, well, first of all, make sure you get a price from a second opinion from a local mechanic. You always get, for work, you always get two opinions. But if it costs you $3,500, will that car ride smooth for the next 3 years, 2 years, 3 years? If the answer is yes, you need to understand something. If you go get another car to replace that car, it's going to cost you a minimum of $3,500 a year, and most likely more than that, $6,000, $7,000 a year coming out of your household. So do you want $3,500 one time and now I got no car payment, I keep my bills low? Or do you want to go get a new car payment that's $400 a month? Now what is that? $400 a month times 12, that's $4,800 a year for the next 5 years or whatever. The cost of replacement, guys, is always more than the cost of keeping that vehicle running. That's why you want to have that car paid off before the 10th birthday, and you want to set aside money for maintenance and repairs. Whatever you were paying on your car payment, $400 a month. All right, my car is paid off. Now take $100 or $200, put it into an emergency fund. So when that car breaks down or something needs, hey, no problem. It's in the emergency fund. But I'm keeping that car, because the longer I keep that car, the less money I pay for a car, the more money I keep in my household. So that's how you purchase, because you're buying a depreciating asset. You have to go long-term with it. It's going to go down in value like this sharply for the first 5, 6 years. It's going down, losing thousands. But once it levels out, that's when you really want to own it, because now we good. Things paid off. I ain't got to worry about it. But as soon as people come through that deep depreciation, that's when they go and trade the car in, and they do it all over again, over and over again. These are the people who I'm trying to get you to understand leasing. You're in the wrong structure. So it's very simple. You're not keeping your next car 8 years, you should be leasing, shopping for below market leases. You're keeping your next car at least 8 years, you're shopping for below market purchase. And all of this is in my step-by-step book. This is the first step. Leasing versus buying. I call it the most important question. We got to put your deal on the right foundation, and then we go get a below market deal. So for everything I'm teaching right now is out of my new digital book. You can grab your copy for 75% off. It's normally $97. If you want the entire blueprint, and you guys see the comments, you see the comments people making, man, get the book, get the book. You see it. So you can go to, thank God we have approaching 10,000 people who have the book. Thank God. We are getting this in a lot of people's hands. People love the welcome offer. And the same people who are using it would look back and say, Deshone, I would have paid the $97 knowing what I know now and what I'm seeing in this book. But to get it at 75% off, $25, even more value. But it's only for 30 minutes. In my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, click that link that says 75% off. In my YouTube comments or Facebook comments, we have a comment pinned for you for your 75% off. But once that timer hits 0, guys, it does go back up to $97, which is the normal price. And it's worth every dime at $97. Okay, so get your copy. Make sure you screenshot the thank you page as soon as you purchase, and make sure you take a record of our support team's email, because sometimes you go and you type it in, you're like, I'm finally gonna be able to enjoy car shopping. Man, I'm about to make the best car deal of my life. And you're so excited, you type your email in correctly, and now it's wrong. And so we can't email you the book. Now, once you get the book, you're going to see, as soon as you pay for it, I say, open your book below. So there's a link right there on that page to actually open the book, and you can save it to your actual, you can save it to your phone. But I email you a copy too. And sometimes if your email's wrong, you're not going to get that email. So make sure you screenshot that page. It has my support team's email, or look at it right here. Look at it on the screen. Get the support team just in case. But that's not for questions. Do not email me any car buying questions to that. That's only for making sure your book gets to you. Okay? So I want you empowered. I want you making the best deals you've ever made. I'm just going to show a bunch of more people before we rock out. I didn't get a chance to get to everybody's deals that has sent me a deal in the last couple of days. I didn't get a chance. Ansley got his second vehicle. He said 2 more, 2 down, 1 more to go for the year. He got this BMW truck. We showed Melissa. We didn't show American Senior Benefits. You guys can read this if you're on Instagram, on YouTube. You can pause that. But we'll go more detail on the second stream. Keep sending me your deals, because I told y'all I was going to bring them onto the show. And after you make your deals, email me. I want you guys proud of the deals you're making. I want you excited, not just about the car. Everybody gets excited about posting their cars. Everybody. You'll see that all through any social media platform. People get a new car, they want to take pictures of it, but they'll never show you the numbers. And you may have been this way, because secretly they're ashamed. The last thing they want is somebody who understands the numbers to look at that deal and be like, hey, did you see this? What's the $4,000 here? Did you see? How many offers did you get on this vehicle before you paid this price? Oh, no, I just thought they don't want that. I don't want you living like that. If you've done that before, I don't want you like that. I want you like all of these other people you're seeing posting your car deals, like Melissa, like American Soldiers Benefits, like Ansley, this is his other car, like Rosalie, like Jen. Hold on. We do this all day long. Like Teddy, like Jared, like Zafrina, like Pierre. Numbers. That's what I want. And that's the confidence you will have after you get your book. So get it. If you do it your way, do it your way. God bless you. My way is no talking, right from home. That's why we call it Cars from Home. So I'm going to check out. God bless y'all. I'll see y'all on the next stream. Share this with a friend. Before you jump off, share this with one friend that you're like, hey, I got somebody that my best friend, they need to see this, because we have to help people protect their money. If we don't get this message out, our friends are right now in dealerships right now overpaying. Okay, so God bless you all. I will see y'all on the next stream.